Here's to the finest crew in Starfleet.
When it comes to my crew, you won't get any argument from me.
This is a parody. Paramount owns the song. But if we change the words, then it's fair use all day long. And you will never take the greatest gin alive. Ben would rather die. What? No, they're not gonna sue. They got no case. Cause parody indemnifies. And I've got faith of the fart. Legally, it's just a fart joke. It's good faith to believe I can do parody. I won't cease or desist. Cause we really think it's fair use. Got free speech and guitars. I can't pay. Couldn't fillet. Got no case. Tempting fate. Faith of the fart. Welcome to The Greatest Generation. It's a Star Trek podcast by a couple of guys just a little bit embarrassed about having a Star Trek podcast. I'm Adam Pranica.
I'm Ben Harrison. Put me on the injured list today, Adam.
Play the drop. What's wrong with Ben this time?
You've been to my house. You've seen the room in it that is unfortunately called kitchen because we don't have a better thing to call that.
Most people don't like their own kitchen.
That's
I
true.
think. Have you noticed this?
Yeah. The thing is, I have so many kitchens to compare my kitchen to. It's the worst kitchen I've ever had in my entire life.
I don't want to victim blame you very much, but you saw the house before you bought it, right?
We did, and we bought a house. Let's just say this house had a lot of potential.
But I think there was a lot of distracting potential, right? Because when you think about the places that you'll spend the most time in a house you're considering living in,
Yeah.
it's hard to look for places to live and hold it all in your mind.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I guess this is the bedroom, and that's like the living room. That's where we're going to set up the record player and the TV and so forth. And like, do we have room for the couch? Do we have room for like all of the rest of the shit you're bringing? And the kitchen too? Like, I feel like it's easy for the kitchen to fall kind of down the list in a way that is most unfortunate because like any house party you've ever been to, the kitchen's the place to be. And that's where you spend most of your time. And like, I'm admitting this too, Ben. Like in every place we've ever thought about living and then maybe did eventually, I never think about the kitchen in a way that it deserves.
Yeah, it's galling. So one of the things is like, it's the kind of kitchen where like you can't have two things open at once because every door or drawer, conflicts with another door or drawer. Mm-hmm. And the dishwasher opens right in front of the stove. And last night...
Oh, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
The very first place we moved to in LA had that configuration. That's brutal.
It's brutal. And so last night I was putting dirty dishes into the dishwasher, bent over, and when I popped up, my shoulder hit the handle of a frying pan, like one of these carbon steel frying pans, and it fell on my foot. And I've been in excruciating pain ever since. Like I've been elevating, I've been icing, I've got the compression tape on. I woke up in tears in the middle of the night last night and like had my wife go get me Advil.
How does it look?
I haven't had the guts to look at it.
Ben, I fucking love you, man, but you gotta look at your foot.
I gotta look at my... All right,
if it's injured. What are you doing? After hearing your medical judgment, I kind of want you to show me your fucking foot so I can tell you whether or not it's broken.
All right, hold on.
Oh, it's got a lot of tape on it.
It doesn't look good. It's actually less bruised than I thought it was going to be. There's some redness, but I think that's from the compression.
And this was last night?
Yeah, I can see where it hit, and it hurts like fuck. I'm hobbling. Man, I got a New York trip in like less than 2 weeks. I want this thing to heal.
You'd know if it were broken, right? You know what a broken bone feels like. You know what a broken toe feels like.
I mean, it fell like right on the top of my foot, and I feel like the top of your foot is just all little bones. So I feel like I could have a broken little bone in there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What are all those little bones? What are they doing in there?
That's bone.
I've broken a toe before, and what I recall is that there's really not much you can do for that.
Yeah.
Like, time and tide fixes a broken toe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a broken rib.
I don't think they're going to cast you up.
Just nothing to do about it. Oh.
You almost garden stated yourself. I mean, this is going to be me choosing the bright side of the situation, Ben, but like you could have gone ass over tea kettle and just straight up died in the kitchen that you hated. So at least that didn't happen. And that carbon steel pan could have been filled with scalding hot oil. I expected the story to get far darker, to be honest. As soon as the pot handle was involved, I thought shit was going to get spilled, but you're saying nothing got spilled. It was empty and it fell.
No, it was like a couple hours after dinner. Like we had like finished our hamburgers and we, like I was in there like cleaning up, getting ready to go to bed. And this happened when a non-hot pan was in play.
I'm glad you finally looked at your injury now that it's nearly 24 hours later. That's good, right?
Yeah. I mean, I looked at it right after because I was, wrapping it in the ice pack and all that.
Foot stuff is no fun.
Yeah. Do you think that people are capturing screenshots of the stream and putting me on WikiFeet based on this? Or is WikiFeet only for lady feet?
Oh, I think it's for feet of all kinds.
For all kinds of feet.
I think if you have an interest in injured feet, yours might rocket to the top of the list.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Are there injured feet enthusiasts? I guess there must be, right?
It's a Florence Nightingale foot fetish where like you see an injured foot and you just want to help it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can fix it.
Yeah.
Is Rule 47 the rule that any Star Trek horny thing that you can think of exists as porn on the internet?
I'm not making /fiction about your foot, though.
I appreciate that, my friend.
Did you learn anything about your kitchen experience that you're going to practice going forward? Like pot handle out into the space of the kitchen?
Because I was frying panning, I was flipping burgers in there.
You were? You said this was hours before this incident.
Yeah, but then I put the hot burgers on the plate and rushed them out to my sweet lady so she could enjoy a nice piping hot, delicious gourmet meal prepared by Chef Ben.
You've worked in kitchens around the world with stars of Miriam number, Ben. You think they're paying attention to the direction of the handles as it relates to the safety of the people working in the kitchen?
They might be. I don't know.
I think it's time to lock that shit down, man. Go Six Sigma with your pots and pans.
I fear and resent the concept of Six Sigma.
And look at where it got you.
Do you want to see if Archer and team believe in the concept of Six Sigma, Adam?
I bet there are some new characters this episode that would really be down with Six Sigma. Let's get to talking about them in a little bit, Ben. On the season premiere of Season 3 of Star Trek Enterprise, it's Episode 1, and it's called The Xindi.
Got free speech and guitars.
And we begin with the last time on Enterprise as introduced by Scott Bakula. Last time on Enterprise, not Star Trek Enterprise. Is that what we should be calling it?
It feels like a thing that we should call it.
Because that's what it calls itself?
Yeah.
This is like pronouns, right? Enterprise would prefer that you call the show Enterprise.
But also, like, I feel like this is a thing that started around the time of this show coming out and has, like, pervaded until now, which is, like, in the tech product parlance, you never use the definite article. Like, Steve Jobs would say, and today we are unveiling iPhone. He would never say the iPhone.
Right, it's cleaner.
Or an iPhone. And I think that it's gross and weird. And I noticed it happening a little bit with Voyager where, Janeway would say...
You think it's gross and weird? Go back to that part. Why? What is that?
I want the definite article. It's the Enterprise. It's Star Trek Enterprise. It's, it's not Voyager. It's the Voyager.
Doesn't it seem like that's informed by military history, though? Like, isn't that what naval ships are called for time immemorial? I kind of feel a familiarity to this way of calling things.
Yeah, I don't dig it. I definitely don't dig it when it comes to like a technology product, and it feels like it crept into Star Trek like later in Star Trek's life.
The new Star Trek haters would totally get with that. Like, don't even call it Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
Call it Discovery or whatever.
Call it Star Wars Discovery. Yeah, well, maybe this is my heel turn. Maybe I'm finding common cause with those people, finally.
Our cold open is in the Zindi Council McLaughlin group.
Issue 1.
Yeah, they've got kind of a Legion of Doom vibe with this, don't they?
In what way?
Just like a bunch of bad guys sitting around a table together, like conniving.
Interesting that you say that. This is a group of people that I think don't think they're evil.
Yes.
Like in what they're talking about. What they're talking about and strategizing around is, it seems like defense of and observation of a threat. And what you gather in this conversation between them is that there are many factions of what Xindi are. There are Xindi reptiles and Xindi insects, Xindi primate, Xindi aquatic, and then Xindi something else. I wasn't sure of what the fifth Xindi was, but like you could compare them to the types of animal species generally that there are on Earth. Sure. Maybe one of them Xindi birdman, and we don't see that yet. I don't know.
He's off camera fucking if there's a birdman.
They all seem to understand each other, even though the insect is a real clicker.
Yeah. There's mutual intelligibility, but some of them get subtitles, and
for our benefit.
The aquatics and the insectoids are among them, and they're debating what do we do about the fact that the entrepreneur is coming. Is this the first wave of the onslaught that we are worried about? Like, can they even know that attack was us? Like, how could they?
I mean, this was why I pushed back lightly on your initial read of the group. Like, this is a group that represents a species that was attacked, whose homeworld was destroyed, and are like seeking to prevent that from happening again.
It was, but it will be. It's like 400 years in the future that they're worried about, right?
It is such a mindfuck. Yeah.
That's where we find ourselves here at the beginning of season 3.
It feels like at this point, Enterprise is being surveilled in a way that they're unaware of.
Yeah.
And like this group, this Zindi McLaughlin group, is going to be one step ahead of them at all times.
Yeah. Sort of like observing the Enterprise like a rat entering a maze that is the Delphic expanse.
Only this rat maze is capable of turning the rats inside out and keeping them alive, per what we learned in the season finale.
Yeah, and in the last time on. They remind us of that in the last time on.
Right.
So we go to the opening theme, new version, who dis.
What'd you think of it?
I think in many ways a weirder shift than the first version of Faith of the Heart, because we just ended with this, like, you know, some capital D dun-dun-duns in our cold open. And then, you know, like the egg shaker and the strummy guitar, the total yacht rockification of Faith of the Heart has finally been completed. And it felt like such a tone clash from the score that we just came out of in that cold open scene.
I had to look up when this episode was made, because the thought that made sense to me after hearing this version was that, yes, this sounds like Aerosmith's Don't Want to Miss a Thing, because if it's guitar solo, it's more pronounced guitar themes.
Yeah.
And like, oh, yeah, of course, like one would inform the other. And I was like, okay, well, when was this episode made? 2003. When was Armageddon made? 1998. And I was like, well, that
works kind of imperfectly. Why wasn't the first version of the Enterprise theme this theme?
Yeah.
Because then my thesis would make sense.
Right.
Now I think it's just confused. It's either confused or the inspiration for this came late, like way late.
I wonder about that because it feels like if this was the theme of the first two seasons and then they shifted to what they had in the first two seasons to now, then I would be like, I get it, you know?
I had that thought throughout this episode. Like, this is probably not a new observation, but like, what if this were season 1, episode 1 of Enterprise?
Wow.
In every way, theme and otherwise. Made me think.
Well, we come back after this new version of the theme to kind of a new tactical command center playset, which I guess has replaced some kind of storage bay. We get to talking. It's T'Pol, Reed, and Captain Archer. And they're heading to a mining planet to find out about a Xindi that somebody might have seen there a while back.
The while back is 2 years ago. That's what makes this mission hilarious to me.
Yeah, but they've also been in the Delphic Expanse for 6 weeks, and like, nobody has insided out themselves, or like, and there hasn't been like mass hysteria aboard the ship, as we've been warned. But B, like, they have nothing to go on. This is the first lead that they've come across.
Imagine how it would feel to have heard about the inside outing of people in the Delphic Expanse and then being inside this place for weeks and every little goosebump or like get out of bed weird and like maybe there's a little, that's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
Like you might have dropped a pan on your foot, but like, is that normal pan pain? Or am I starting to turn inside out?
It starts in the foot? I would never have thought it would start in the foot.
A certain personality would become obsessed and unable to work, I think, were you to have the foreknowledge of the inside outness. And I wonder how many people aboard the ship do.
Yeah.
And I've got faith of the fart. Legally, it's just a fart joke.
T'Pol certainly does not seem to be shaken. She's upgraded her look a little bit, which, I mean, we saw what she looked like when they entered the Delphic Expanse. So in between then and now, she had 6 weeks to go like, you know what? I think I'm going to change my hair a little bit. Maybe get a couple new outfits, you know? Thinking about changing things up.
Eyebrows got a little swoopier, a little more body to the back of the head hairstyle.
Sure.
I mean, I'm presuming they got our note about T'Pol leaving rooms and showing us the back of her head so often. Like they finally changed the hairstyle in a way that where I think that looks a lot better going forward. She's not the only one who got a new haircut, Ben. I thought Archer rocking the From Dusk Till Dawn haircut was pretty striking.
Yeah. It's kind of the tail end of the Caesar, I would say. Like, the Caesar's back, for sure, but in, like, a hipster, like an evil hipster kind of context now.
The three of them are talking, Archer, T'Pol, and Reed. And I love that this season begins with an almost 2-minute oneer because we've set up the camera in the corner of this new location, and it seems to be on a dolly that goes maybe 2 feet.
Yeah.
And then as Archer circles back around the other two and around the central table, the camera is both sliding and rotating to follow him as he goes around to the right side of the frame and then back and forward to the middle of T'Pol and Reed in a really elegant move.
Yeah.
It is so much for Bakula to keep in his head because he's basically the only mover of the three, and he's having to hit 3 or 4 distinct marks based on his dialogue. And I watched this scene 3 or 4 times to kind of like pick up where his eyes were to see if he was looking at marks or anything. He's such a stone cold pro. It made me love Bakula a lot for this scene. Like, he was so good in this.
Yeah. The blocking is complex, and
Yeah.
it's a really intense moment because he is He's totally nut stomping Reed about
Yeah.
second guessing whether they should be like running this lead down because they don't have leads. Like, it's a moment of embarrassment, I think, for Captain Archer because they've spent so much time looking to answer the attack on Earth and they got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels to him like a ticking time bomb. Like, at some point, we're all going to lose our minds or go inside out. So, like, we got to like fanatically run down every lead we've got, no matter how spurious it seems.
And yet every lead we've got is basically this and this alone.
Yeah.
And they've got the time because absent the other leads, like this will be good, right?
Yeah.
That's the tone things end on. In the mess hall, Hoshi sits with the Mako troops that are now aboard Enterprise for this mission. And I've forgotten their names already. Like, this is just classic Adam meeting a group of people. Hoshi is meeting this group of people, getting the around the horn. I'm like, cool, whatever. But couple of familiar faces here that I just love. Beginning with Nathan Anderson, who played the leader of the Vori Defense Contingent back on Voyager.
Team Leader Brome, 4th Vori Defense Contingent.
I gotta get a pump.
That's it, get it.
What a striking looking guy.
Yeah.
What a military typecast face. Perfect job with them.
Yeah. He looks great.
And also Daniel Day Kim as a familiar too. We don't see either of them, I think, for the rest of the episode, but it seems like they're going to be a going concern as long as they're on board for this mission.
Stephen Culp is their leader. Major Hayes.
That's the name to remember, right?
Yeah.
Major Hayes.
Probably the rest will be sort of red shirty and interchangeable, but pretty cool to see Daniel Day Kim early in his career.
Do you think the Mako group wanted to leave, but then when Hoshi sat down, they had to stick around so they didn't hurt her feelings about like being done with lunch and like getting up to go? Because like there is a uniformity to the, all right, lunch is over and everyone fucking ditches Hoshi to sit at the table alone.
We have a briefing in a few minutes. If you'll excuse us.
I mean, we just found out that they've been in the Expanse for 6 weeks with no clues to go on. Like, what could they possibly be getting briefed on?
There is no way that Hoshi isn't just a little bit hurt by this, I think.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Should I not have brought up what small town in the Midwest that guy came from?
Elsewhere in the corridor, Trip is telling Archer about an incident in the cargo bay where stuff is kind of flying around, like the library in the beginning scene of Ghostbusters.
It blew books off shelves from 20 feet away and scared the socks off some poor librarian.
They go to look at it, and it's by reputation not the first anomaly they've encountered since being in this area of space.
Yeah.
And once they see all the cargo going to and fro, Archer's like, all right, well, no one should come in here, and we're locking the door once we leave it. I love that there's no attempt made to, like, remove the cargo from the room or anything.
I mean, how could you?
Just let it be.
It's up on the wall.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of anomaly that they've gotten, not the other kinds that make you a raving maniac that pulls your own eyeballs out.
I was looking very closely at these containers. None of them seem to be opening and turning themselves inside out.
Yeah.
But I'm on the lookout.
Yeah.
Also on the lookout is Dr. Phlox in 6 Bay doing some microscoping when T'Pol walks in. He's looking at Zindi cells
Yeah.
that make him believe that the Zindi that he's looking at could be a reptilian. And Dr. Phlox breaks HIPAA protocol to tell her that he's been treating Trip Tucker for his grief with a cocktail of drugs, but wonders if Vulcan Europressure might be the way to go here. And he knows someone who might know how to do that.
Mitch on Baywatch will you'll occasionally find out that he's got like a degree in architecture or something. You'll be like, what? I've been watching this show for 3 seasons. Since when?
Whatever's useful for the story.
Yeah. And this isn't necessarily useful for the story, but it's useful for something. The reveal that T'Pol has bodywork qualifications.
Look, if she can just teach Trip this neuropressure technique, it'll keep Trip Tucker out of 6 Bay, which will make Dr. Phlox's life a little better. I think that's the subtext here.
Oh, yeah. Give a man a sleeping pill and he'll sleep for a night. Teach a man to plex and he'll jack off in the holodeck for time immemorial.
The best way out is through. You said that once, remember?
I suppose I did.
This is a good scene for T'Pol because she's like, I know Trip Tucker. Don't you? And don't you also believe that he would never want to do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Dr. Phlox is like, you got to try, right?
Yeah.
Like, neither of us have heard no.
And then twist, also, you have to convince him.
Yeah, because Dr. Phlox has made it seem as though he's already gotten Trip on board. No, he hasn't done that. That is for T'Pol to do.
He kind of parent traps her, but he sort of tells her he's going to parent trap her, and he parent traps her, and then he tells her he parent trapped her. It's like the dirty talk of parent trapping someone.
Yeah.
If we change the words, then it's fair use all day long.
We go to the shuttle pod that is heading down to this mine planet. It's a mine planet, a high AQI planet. Reed and Archer step out and immediately start coughing. And they get greeted by some people who actually have proper respiration attire for this environment.
Hearing you talk about the secret mining facility made me think of the MacGruber sketches from SNL. And their establishing shot is always like mining lab, like on a sign. In looking at the exterior, did it look icy or was it just smoky? Or was it icy and smoky, which is what I thought it was?
Oh, I didn't get icy. I just got like dusty.
The light jackets sort of revealed that it might not have been as cold as I thought.
Yeah. I mean, the color palette is definitely cool. A cool color palette.
Did you read that production ground up like tons and tons of blue-colored styrofoam and spread it all around the set? And you know what styrofoam does when it's busted up, right? It sticks to everything and everybody.
Oh, God.
What I read was that this stuff was sticking to everything at the Paramount lot, like for weeks and weeks and months. Like they just couldn't get rid of this.
Oh, man. My roommates years ago threw a New Year's party, and a girl came in a sequined dress, and the hem of the dress got snagged on something. And so she was just shedding trillions of sequins all night at this party. And for like 2 years, we never saw the end of it. Like every time you swept or like, you know, looked under a shelf for something, like tons of sequins would inevitably show up.
Ben, why weren't you at this New Year's party?
I was out of town. I was I was visiting the Bay Area or something.
Canadian girlfriend?
This is an apartment I lived in with my wife.
Oh. Canadian girlfriend?
Yeah. You don't need to tell her about that, though.
It's weird how, like, we get Archer and Reed on the surface, like, breathing without masks, wearing their light coats, kicking around the styrofoam and stuff. And Reed's like, we don't need EV suits. We're just fine. And we learn a little bit later in the episode that, like, nothing survives on the surface. How did they get this one so wrong?
I don't know. Yeah. Phlox was like, oh, yeah, you guys will be fine.
Try not to breathe.
Yes, sir.
Anyways, we meet a very wet man who is the mine foreman, and he will tell them about this Zindi dude, but he would like some liquid platinum for his trouble.
Gotta get that liquid platinum. Get that liquid platinum. Am I right? Yeah.
This is not something that they carry with them in high abundance.
It's an awkward moment because he comes right out with it. A half liter of platinum in exchange for meeting a miner. All Archer and Reed have is this 6-pack of Mike's Hard Lemonade.
And what's going on here seems pretty pervy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They're like, okay, say we did bring back this liquid platinum. Like, how do we know that this miner is Xindi? And that question is so insulting to the foreman. He has to give Archer the finger.
This actor I recognized, I feel like I've just seen him in like a million things. I couldn't place my finger on exactly what I like most strongly associate him with, but he was a lot of fun to watch.
Did you recognize him as It's a Fake?
Oh, yeah. It's a fake guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's also got some like X-Files episodes. got some Walker, Texas Ranger episodes.
He's got a great voice.
What exactly do you want with our Zindi friend?
He was also Dr. Reston on Seinfeld. Got a big arc on Seinfeld, like multiple episodes.
He, like so many other people who work at this facility, have like the fighter pilot mask just sort of flopping off of his face.
Yeah.
To use whenever he needs it.
He kind of reminded me of the Forrest Whitaker character in Rogue One, where like it seems like some health thing has caused him to have a lot more tubes than most of the rest of his colleagues, but maybe they're all headed in that direction ultimately. They make a deal with him because he can prove that there is a Zindi there. He tosses a dirty rag to Archer, and it's got a toe with nail polish.
I will not abide another toe.
Kind of a jarring cut from here. It's a gorgeous day in Florida. The date, September 11th, 2153. And Trip is trying to warn his sister about something. He's yelling, but it's that dreamlike thing where you're hollering, but the person you're trying to get the attention of can't hear you.
Yeah.
And it's his sister.
It's also just like a bad shirt that he's got on. Like, I feel like that's like a big portion of what's nightmarish about this experience.
Like a lot of people, when they go to a tourist town, they want to get like the fun tourist shirt. There's an entire economy of shops built to satisfy this urge.
Right.
And I just want to suggest to anyone out there planning on going on vacation and maybe visiting the shop, don't go to the clearance rack. If you're going to get a fun tourist shirt, like get a cool, fun patterned tourist shirt. Not this shit that Trip is wearing in this scene.
No.
This is a bad tourist shirt on the clearance rack. It's no good.
Because it takes all of the like pattern cues of an Aloha shirt, but then it's all like patches of burlap and like beaten up ultra suede and stuff. It looks like shit.
Decide what you do, tourist shirt. Because I don't know what this one does.
No, it's not festive or fun.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Neither festive nor fun is the orbital bombardment beam cutting its way toward Trip's sister. And as it gets so close to reaching her, Trip wakes up from his nightmare.
Yeah, and he goes, "Oh my God, that was such a bad shirt."
I kind of wish I was first in line for that orbital bombardment beam. I would have ripped off that shirt and flung it into the beam.
I don't know if it's possible to calibrate something like this, but if you could shoot the shirt off of somebody from orbit, that would have been perfect. Like without hurting the person wearing it, just shoot my shirt off. The shirt's bad.
In sickbay, Captain Archer has given Dr. Phlox the finger that he got on the mining planet. And yes and no isn't a great answer to the question, is it Zindi?
I need something a little more concrete, Doctor.
It's not the same species, but it's very, very close. And I thought this was a scene that felt like it could have been so much more interesting if we hadn't had the Zindi Legion of Doom right at the beginning. Like, if we hadn't seen what the Zindi look like.
Why can't we figure out what they are? And then the reveal at the end.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and then, like, we could learn it from the miner that they find eventually. Like, you know, that would have been such an interesting twist, but it just felt like it was kind of undercut by that cold open.
Testimony from miners so often can't be trusted, though.
Sure. I mean, especially after they've had a couple of Smirnoff Ices or whatever.
The computer is able to mock up a sort of courtroom sketch of what the guy on the probe that attacked Earth looks like, and he looks pretty cold-blooded.
Yeah.
And that's weird because the Zindi belonging to the finger is determined to be a little more mammalian, yeah?
Right. Humanoid.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a real head-scratcher for Phlox and Archer, and Trip walks in at this point.
With a 6-pack of liquid platinum. He's like, hey, we're ready to go back down there, and we've got the goods.
But before he leaves sickbay, Trip tells Phlox about how You know, the sleep's not going great. He's going to need a little boost in the Medicina department.
Dr. Flaux, do you think you could give me something to sleep, like a handsome-looking Hawaiian shirt? Something from your collection and not my own.
Legally, it's just a fart joke. You will never take the greatest gin alive. Ben would rather die.
What? They go back down, talking to the foreman, and at this point, Archer's really playing hardball. He wants the foreman to, like, personally escort them down there to meet the Zindi dude, or no platinum.
Yeah, it's weird, because the foreman's usually like, most people who want to meet the miners don't want a chaperone. Kind of weird.
We have many private rooms for this on this planet.
I mean, I love Archer. I love Archer this whole episode, but maybe starting here, because he's like, look, man, we brought the 6-pack. You're telling me he's still asleep? Wake his ass up.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit about his sleep schedule.
They head down there. Saw a chaotic bro in the caves. That was fun.
That was neat. That looked like a benzite.
There's some talk as they're going about, oh, so you must be from like a starship. Like you got a lot of people on that starship, like pretty big, fairly large crew, would you say?
I don't like this at all. I think Archer and Trip should have shut the fuck up and said as little as possible about how they got there.
Yeah. It's like talking to cops. Like, don't offer information that you don't need to offer to wet mine foreman who's selling you miners.
Finally, they get to a part of the cavern where this Zindi is thrown at their feet. This is Keswick. And he's pretty upset about getting his finger cut off in what was definitely not an accident.
Yeah.
And not only that, he takes great umbrage with getting his whole life there messed up because these two dipshits just want directions to his home planet. His energy right away is big.
Yeah.
We have important business with your people, but you don't know where to find them?
I mean, if you got your finger cut off because someone wanted driving directions, I feel like you would be similarly upset.
Ben, I wouldn't take the meeting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Keswick had a choice here.
Yeah.
This is when, like, Trip gets pretty rough with him. Pretty like, you're going to fucking tell us what the fuck we want to know kind of thing.
Because this is the second trade in as many days. Like they're kind of tired of trading at this point.
They just want the information.
Trip's ready to kick some ass, and unfortunately, it's a bad scene in front of the other miners.
Yeah. What Keswick ultimately comes up with is, if you can help me get the fuck out of here, maybe I will tell you. And they're getting ready to try to accommodate that desire of his. And they get a radio signal from the Enterprise that 3 warships are approaching this planet at high warp. They'll be here in 2 hours. And they go to like leave the part of the mine that they're in, and the door has been swung shut and locked. And it's revealed that this was all a trick to get more miners for the mine.
Yeah, you got to check to make sure the door's locked from the outside or not.
Yeah.
I think before going into this section. And whoops.
But what they didn't count on is that Jonathan Archer is one of the greatest jailbreak men in this quadrant, right?
I neglected to remember that. Yeah, that is a big part of his whole deal now. Part of his legend.
Yeah.
On Enterprise, they get a message from the surface. It's the foreman. And he's telling T'Pol that Archer and Trip Tucker are going to be delayed, but it's fine. We're just doing the typical deionizing we got to do when we've got 3 cargo ships coming in for a landing.
Yeah.
Because that is what the cargo ships require before setting down. And I love how T'Pol sees right through the bullshit without betraying that she sees right through the bullshit. This is great.
Yeah. Like, what about all the weaponry on board these cargo ships? And he's like, oh, yeah, I mean, because the insulation that we mine here is a precious commodity, needs a lot of defending. Tell that to the people trying to get rid of it on the Paramount lot 2 weeks later.
So once the FaceTime's over, T'Pol tells Reed, hey, you got to come up with a rescue plan, and I'm going to give you a 1-hour deadline because those warships are 2 hours away. You got me?
So we get Archer, Trip, and Keswick crawling through a mile of 31 species shit and coming out smelling like roses on the other side.
I like how the shit glows.
Yeah. Is that because of the different species? Like something about Zindi poops and benzite poops interacts to create an exothermic reaction?
I mean, if you're an alien species of a certain kind, you don't need a nightlight for a midnight poop, do you? Because you're making it yourself.
I imagine this picture of
Iridescent algae
is really a gallon of your feces.
This is probably just like a network television thing, but the scene where Trip has to get like chin deep in the sewage to pull the lever.
That's tough.
It was more tame than I felt like they should have gone, you know? Like, make the water immediately around his mouth look way grosser. You've got lots of styrofoam, you know, that could be floating in that.
Decidedly untame is Trip not being the topmost person on a ladder as everyone is dripping sewage onto the person below them. Like, he's getting in it all kinds of ways.
Trip had a rough go on this trip.
I mean, the people below Keswick, you're just going to have pink eye after this, right?
You're going to have pink eye. It's guaranteed. They start climbing up this ladder inside a plasma duct, and this is going to be their way out. And we learn that there's like service hatches every 8 floors or something like that, but it's going to be a long climb.
There's a very brief moment between Trip and Archer, I feel like, where they're like, how does Keswick know all this stuff about the baffles and the wrenches and the cycles and all this?
Yeah.
There is some suspicion growing at this point, I thought.
And he knows that like they don't ever run plasma through this duct. It's always through the other ducts.
And he's always the first one up the ladder, which is just kind of gross for everyone that has to follow.
I mean, I know we've only gone up one ladder, but he is always the first one up the ladder. And
if that's going to be Keswick's thing, I trust him even less.
Yeah. Oh, he's also bleeding from his finger injury. So he's probably, it's not just sewage.
Yeah, that's going to sting.
Oh, man. He had an open wound in the sewage.
Yeah, he's going to have pink finger. Back on Enterprise, we're in the armory where T'Pol has told Reed that there's still no response from Archer and Trip. And Hayes is in there too. And there's a conversation between Hayes and Reed about how should we divide the labor W/R/T rescuing Archer and Trip? And what they finally come down on is that the Mako team should be the ones going to the surface for the rescue because the Enterprise security team would probably be best at defending the ship were it to come right down to it. Only Reed wants to lead the Mako team on the surface, and that's kind of the compromise that they arrive at. And once Hayes leaves, Reed confides a totally baffling opinion about him to T'Pol, which goes something like, why does Hayes want to do something that makes the success of the mission the priority over whatever my undercooked idea is? Reed is like, I've worked with people like Hayes before and they suck. They always want to do the right thing in the best way. And it's really irritating.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off, Reed. Like just because you're the dumb one in the group, like choose the best idea.
His abilities being insulted seems to be a bigger problem for Reed than the captain and chief engineer are missing and might be killed by the people on the planet's surface.
Can we all agree to just do the best thing? Regardless of whose idea it was. Fuck.
Speaking of missing, the foreman gets a report that his new prisoners are missing.
Great moment for the foreman, too, because unlike a lot of dumb bad guys who would be like, send every team down into the chutes to find them. He's like, all right, just put a couple of guys by the shuttle pod and we'll get them there. I was like, that is a great plan.
Yeah, that's exactly where they would be going.
That's how you get to be the foreman of a bunch of miners.
Yeah. And also he's like, we're not going to blow up the shuttle pod. Like it's like, I want that thing.
We can use that for hauling ore.
Yeah. Got a lot of styrofoam to take up to those ships in orbit. So yeah, another shuttle launches, and this one is full of soldiers, plus Reed and Mayweather. The idea being, I guess, we're leaving Starfleet tactical people on the ship in case the ship is boarded by these warships they're inbound.
We learned something about Keswick that I think is really important as he and Archer and Trip are scrabbling around the different ducks. We get ducks of so many sizes and shapes and smoothnesses in these scenes. Archer's like, why haven't you escaped before if you had all this knowledge that would come in handy for escaping? And Kessick's like, no one can breathe that air outside. It's fucking poison. You think I would even take a walk from a shuttle pod to the lobby area of this mining facility?
Not unless I was desperate, brother.
You'd take 20 years off of your life doing that. He's like, the situation's only different right now because there's a shuttle pod waiting for us on the surface, and I can hold my breath between the time I pop out of a hatch and we get into that thing.
Yeah.
And while they're having this conversation, the foreman knows exactly where they are.
Yeah. He sees that they're in that shaft, and he's like, all right, well, we'll just turn the plasma on in that shaft.
Yeah.
So they're climbing up, and Kessick is explaining about the 5 different kinds of Xindi, and they hear those baffles start to close.
They almost get to the 5th Xindi. I was like, I'm finally going to learn about which one it is. Nope. I'm never going to know.
I won't cease or desist, 'cause we really think it's fair use.
There's a brief debate about whether they should scramble to climb up or climb down from where they are, because they don't know exactly how far they are from the closest exit. It might be behind you.
This is the mystery box gambling theory, right? Like, they know exactly where the baffle beneath them is, but they think that there's one up ahead, but they just don't know how far. So they've got to puzzle out in a very short amount of time if it makes more sense to go forward or back.
What did you make of this, crabs in a bucket moment where Trip and Kessick are, both trying to get through the door at the same time, and Kessick is, being an asshole about it and, making it harder for both of them to get through the door?
It seemed like both Kessick and Trip were at fault for, shoving each other to get inside.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit.
I didn't actually chalk it up as Kessick being any worse than he had been already, but I think Trip is consistently shitty to Kessick at all times in this episode, and so that didn't surprise me either.
Very much.
But Archer's there to, kind of break the tie because he pulls them in at the same time.
Yeah, and gets the door closed. They are safe.
They're safe for a half a second. I love the way this sequence plays out. They're like, woo! All right. And then 20 people with racked shotguns aimed at them.
Yeah. This is exactly where the guards expected them to come out.
Yeah.
And the foreman is here to twist to his wet, sloppy mustache. And he's like, you're not worth all the trouble that you're going to be if I keep you around as miners. So out to the surface you go.
How about Kessick going Chunk from Goonies in this scene? Absolutely spilling his guts, absolutely giving them up.
Okay, I'll talk.
Really great.
I like that it doesn't matter. He still gets the rifle butt to the chin.
Yeah.
Seems like their goose is cooked, but then the commandos start rappelling in from somewhere on ropes.
Say hello to the devil for me!
And we get a great big firefight between the highly trained military guys and the Bane mask guards of the mine. Kessick hides under the stairs. Well, everybody else is shooting each other. The military guys have a cattle prod device that they brought with them. There's some fun hand to hand stuff with that.
The fight scene's great. A lot of compound sequences. A lot of individual skirmishes throughout, in addition to the firefight itself. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, and a lot of getting the gun off of a guy that you just wrestled to the ground.
I mean, if you're Archer and Trip, that is job one, is getting a weapon.
Yeah. So they defeat all the guards, and then bangers start dropping on the mine itself. And Archer and Kessick have to very hastily agree to a escape to the surface for coordinates trade, and they're about to leave for the shuttle, but Kessick gets hit, and there's a sniper up in the smoke. He's got
that was the foreman at the top.
Was that the foreman?
Yeah, he takes one to the face.
Fuck, I didn't even realize that was the foreman.
Yeah.
RSVP the foreman.
I love a sniper shot like we get here.
Yeah.
Archer and Trip don't just leave Keswick's body. They drag it to one of the shuttle pods, and both pods make for orbit. And on Enterprise, they've got 7 minutes until those inbound warships arrive. So they're cutting it pretty close, and that's why T'Pol tells the shuttles to dock simultaneously. And then they're off.
So Phlox visits Archer to report that their little Xindi buddy, Keswick, has shuffled loose this mortal coil.
Did you say shoveled because he was a miner? Because that's pretty great if so.
Yeah, so Archer is like talking shit about this guy post-mortem because he like wouldn't even give them the coordinates. But it turns out he did. He dictated the coordinates to the Xindi homeworld for Archer, even though he was in great pain as he tried to do it.
The energy of the scene is so great. It's like the family conspiring after the relative that everyone hated died. Like, God, what an asshole. Probably a racist. Just terrible to us. A real piece of shit. Oh, we were left something in the will, you say? Well,
no, never speak ill of the dead, you know?
I guess we should go to the service.
Trip has been treated for being covered in blue sludge.
My nipples are so irritated by both the sludge and the sewage.
Yeah. I've got 8 different cases of pink nipple.
You're never going to let that go, are you?
Yeah.
Checking in with Reed. They made such a big deal about the no funeral service for Trip's sister in the last time on. I thought it was going to come up again in this scene.
Yeah. There are, people in your life that would be super sensitive about you giving a compliment to someone else. Mm-hmm. I love how this scene played out where Trip was like, boy, working with the Mako types sure was interesting. They really have a lot of firepower. And Reed is like swallowing his tongue, like absolutely hating that Trip would compliment another security professional in his presence.
Yeah.
Like that's how thin-skinned he is.
Such a little creep.
Yeah.
Anyways, he goes into 6 Bay and asks Phlox for his sleepy time meds. And Phlox obliges with a hypo spray to the neck and then is like, oh, you also got to go give this iPad to T'Pol. It will be a surprise to her that you're on your way. But yeah, there's like biological data in here that she needs to take a look at.
And we know from the earlier scene, Dr. Phlox isn't complying with HIPAA now that they're in the expanse.
Right.
Like, read it on your way, Trip. Yeah. Enjoy.
We're in international waters, baby. They can't catch me here.
You know what's also turned inside out? HIPAA compliance.
So the second he leaves, he radios to T'Pol about the fact that this was also a deception in terms of him medicating Trip. There is no sedative.
Trip is the guy at the high school drinking party that was given like shake weed, and he's like, "Oh, I'm super high. I can't feel my face."
Like that was oregano, dude. So yeah, what this was all to set up was getting T'Pol out of her shirt because she's in her bedtime gear when Trip shows up, and then asks if he can stimulate her nodes, which of course requires the shirt to come off. And now that he's gotten her, she's going to get him.
Please, disrobe.
It's just a back robe. No one ever regrets what happens after a back robe, right?
Yeah. She makes a big deal out of like, are you implying that this was somehow sexual?
No, not at all. I was just...
How could he have gotten that misapprehension of the situation?
It's interesting how Trip is both right and wrong about there being a deception, but it's not seduction, right? Like, T'Pol admits that this was a charade, and the sedative was a placebo, and this is just a way to get him to work the Vulcan pressure points.
Right.
But the thing that works even more than the charade on him is Trip wanting to reverse his reputation as being intransigent.
Ankylosaur.
See, I can't even say it. Trip knows what it means, though.
Yeah.
And so that's the reason he goes through with it. It's almost more about reputation than it is about what it could possibly do for him.
Don't be so intransigent, Trip. Dump him out.
Seems like it's going to work, though.
We sort of fade to black on that, and then we're showing up at the star that the Zindi planet orbits, and this is not exactly what they were expecting. They were hoping for planet with super weapon under construction in orbit. What they find is aftermath of destroyed planet.
Yeah.
And it was blown up a while ago.
I love Archer articulating the moment. He's like, that fucking guy gave us coordinates to, I guess, his planet, but if it was blown up 120 years ago, how did a planet from the past create a weapon in the future that then went back in time and attacked Earth for destroying the planet even more into the future than that?
It's time travel.
Is that how you puzzled it out? Like there were many past and future crossings on our way to arrive at this information.
Yeah.
I like how Archer doesn't have to get it. He's like, you know what? I don't get it, and I don't want to get it. My orders are to go ahead, go forward, deeper into the expanse.
And somebody's like, beep, boop, beep, Captain, more inside-outy anomalies ahead. And he's like, don't give a shit. We're already on borrowed time anyways. And we cut back to the Zindi Council convening about this. And they don't like the odds for the entrepreneur going through these distortion fields.
But just in case, they've got insurance. The insect Zindi specifically, because they're like, look, all y'all might be fine just watching this play out, but I'm not down to wait and see. I want to finish this weapon, and I'm going to use it as soon as possible if it comes down to it. And that's the end of the episode.
Did you like this episode of Star Trek Enterprise, Adam? Or as some people just call it, Enterprise.
I can't pay. Could for late. Got no case. Tempting fate.
I teased this a little bit in the beginning, Ben, but I kind of wish this was season 1, episode 1 of Enterprise.
Wow.
I think maybe mostly because of elements that I think Star Trek Puritans would probably dislike. Not just in this series, but like in new Star Trek series. I think the introduction and inclusion of the military on this mission and the tension between the military and the civilians on the ship sort of makes sense in a very first mission on the very first starship kind of way.
Sure.
And it makes me wish that they were there the whole time.
Yeah.
It makes me wish Archer were like this the whole time. A little more careful, a little more careful and a little more aggressive in some ways.
Yeah.
With a little better haircut. Like, this is the Archer I wish we've had for 30 episodes that has taken so long to get.
Yeah.
I am very intrigued by this whole story arc. I love how much danger we're in the entire episode. I love that danger isn't resolved. I think this series has become very interesting to me, starting now. How about you?
Yeah, it feels like they've borrowed some of the best parts of Voyager to set this up.
Great call. Yeah.
Without it feeling like warmed over Voyager stuff. It does a very interesting job of setting up what will be a very different type of season for Star Trek Enterprise. And I think it's a lot more successful in that than the previous episode was, which felt like it kind of ended on such an ambiguous note. A couple of missteps, like I really do think that they missed an opportunity to make the Zindi a little bit more of a mystery at the beginning.
I agree with you on that. Make it a revelation instead of the bookend.
Yeah. Although, like, thinking about that, like, I mean, there have been a couple of seasons of Discovery more recently where they set up the big bad as a total mystery alien at the beginning, and it felt like annoying by episode 5 that you're just like, all right, let's just fucking figure out who it is, and then we'll go find them and stop their galaxy-destroying evil plan or whatever.
Right.
Maybe it's good hygiene to just get that out of the way and let us get to know these people. Because I think you're right. Like, they aren't just villainous. Like, they believe that they are acting in self-defense, and so does Enterprise, and that's kind of an interesting conflict. And, you know, any episode where they get T'Pol out of her shirt, you gotta love, right?
I don't know, man. I think if we're setting up a romantic relationship between T'Pol and Trip Tucker, I mean, I remember college. The back rub was an entry point into a relationship a lot of times. So that seemed familiar to me.
I neither was asked to give nor did I receive any back rubs in college.
Yeah, back rubs very popular at the college I went to.
Wow.
Almost as popular as a Priority 1 message on our shows, Ben. You want to go see if those lead to something?
Let's do it.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Need a supplemental income.
Supplemental income?
Supplemental.
Supplemental.
Yeah, it's extra.
The interest alone could be enough to buy this ship.
Ben, we've got a promotional Priority 1 message here. And here's how that goes. Captain Rios showed us soccer will be popular in a Star Trek future.
Oh, yeah.
So come support a fellow FOD's other passion this summer. Real Central New Jersey Soccer invites all FODs to Sci-Fi Night on Wednesday, June 28th, 7 p.m. at Rider University in Lawrenceville, New Jersey.
Whoa.
Use discount code FOD online or come June 28th and tell the ticket takers you know Captain DeSoto to get $5 tickets.
Wow.
Kids games, food truck, beer garden, and ice cream will be available at this family and nerd-friendly evening. Get tickets at realcentralnj.soccer. Ben, did you know you could get a URL in .soccer?
I feel stupid that we don't own greatesttrek.soccer.
Ira Jersey knows you can, and that's who sent this promotional P1. So if you're in New Jersey or an enormous soccer fan, not in New Jersey, you should hang out and watch soccer with a bunch of FODs.
Yeah, so that's June 28th, Sci-Fi Night, supporting Real Central New Jersey Soccer.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ira Jersey, an OG FOD who made us soccer scarves for the show years and years ago.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I have mine on my wall. It's just very high up.
Our next P1 here is from Erica, and it's to Ian. Goes like this. Hi, Pumpkin. Remember that Halloween you went as Locutus and I went as Ensign Rowe? We were the coolest nerds at Yorkshire Elementary. Instead of getting you Trek memorabilia for the 30th year in a row, I decided to mix it up and get you a message on this a little bit embarrassing podcast. Thank you for being the best little brother. I love you. Man, little brother Locutus is puts the cute in Locutus. Let's just put it that way.
I've got to see pictures of what an elementary school aged kid dressed as Locutus looks like. That kid would get the most candy on my doorstep for Halloween.
Oh man, yeah.
Like,
expend all remaining candy on that bucket.
I've got a hard time imagining what a little kid would look like done up in that way. Like, did you shave your head?
Did you have the laser?
How far did you go? I'd like to know more about this costume.
Yeah, this rules.
And you too, Erica. Did you do the row with earring?
Yeah.
Without earring? Row having taken the jacket off and put on another person in the town for warmth?
Yeah, to offer warmth to a refugee child. Did you already have the haircut, or did you go down to the salon and ask for a fuck-ass bob so that you could really sell Ensign Rowe?
More questions than answers at this point. Hopefully we get a follow-up there. Ben, our last message is from a time traveler from 2017, and it is to Raz and Plavine.
Whoa!
This message goes like this. I'm a new listener working my way through the old episodes. I'm currently in August of 2017 and loving the P1s from Raz and Plavine. Thanks for all the laughs. In the spirit of the show, I have not done any research. So if it turns out that in the past 8 years you discovered that they were serial killers, I apologize.
Don't sweat it, time traveler from 2017. As far as we know,
I want to say we don't know that yet, still.
We haven't found out since then.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
I think we all have it in us.
Oh, God. You think we all have it in us?
Yeah.
It's the most terrifying thing you've ever said on the show, Adam. You just think that, huh?
We don't know it yet.
Well, if you'd like to, offer some kind of confession or just wish somebody a happy birthday, it's MaximumFun.org/Jumbotron to get yourself a P1 on the show.
Hey, Ben.
Oh, what's that, Adam?
Did you find yourself a drunk Shimoda this episode?
Incredible. Drunk Shimoda.
I think I'm going to give it to Hayes for the I don't think about you at allness of his interactions with Reed. Like, Major Hayes is somebody that Reed has interpreted to be insulting him, second guessing his capabilities, big dogging him at every turn. I don't get the sense that Major Hayes is thinking about Reed at all.
Yeah, Reed is having a very personal experience in his own mind.
He's doing that thing where he's having the conversation he imagines he would have inside of his own head, and Hayes is oblivious to all of it.
Yeah, that's a good call.
How about yourself? Did you find a drunk Shimoda in this episode?
I think mine's going to be Dr. Phlox.
Okay.
I was not expecting him to be the trickster that he was this episode. And I think it is evidence of just how badly Trip is doing medically. Like, I think we're getting the sense that he's tormented by his dreams, and he's obviously in a ton of grief about his sister.
Right.
But, like, for a medical professional to take the actions that he does this episode is telling us more than we're being shown about just how down and maybe in danger Trip is due to his sleep deprivation. So, yeah, I'm going to make Dr. Phlox my drunk Shimoda for that.
Yeah.
He's kind of a puppet master here of a couple of characters.
Maybe leave Trip on the ship for this mission, you know?
Yeah, kind of a loose cannon when he confronts his Xindi.
Yeah. You know what I find really relaxing is having sewage and blood drip on me from up a ventilation shaft.
You think about how close this episode came to being a gruel episode?
I couldn't believe that there was no gruel.
Once you get taken as a slave for a mining planet, you know the gruel's on offer as soon as that happens.
The gruel is next step. But you know what I also realized is that, like, Trip shows up in Phlox's office and goes like, I'm going to need something to help me get to sleep later. And then they go down, get abducted, and break out of prison. And he, like, crawls through sewage, crawls up a plasma vent, gets in a huge firefight, still makes his appointment at 10 p.m. to show back up in sickbay, get his sleeping pill.
I thought the same thing. What a day they had. I mean, could you blame anyone who went on that mission for not being able to sleep very well? Like, the adrenaline is coursing through his body after that.
Come on, Phlox. Of all days, I think you can give him a sleeping pill today.
Yeah. Yeah. Way to go, Dr. Phlox, with staying the course on his plan. Amazing.
Faith of the fart.
Well, let's talk about whether next week's episode will be amazing, Adam. Of course, it'll be Season 3, Episode 2, Anomaly. Enterprise starts experiencing effects of the spatial distortions pervading the Delphic expanse and falls victim to predatory aliens.
I like the sound of this.
Yeah.
This is in keeping with your Star Trek Voyager observation.
Yeah.
Because it felt for a time on that show, in the Delta Quadrant, Voyager was just constantly on the run.
Totally.
Also on the run is our runabout, Ben, because at gach.biz/game, that's where we keep the game of buttholes. The World of Riker, Quantum Leap, and where we learn how we will experience the recap of the next episode.
Wow.
You're required to learn as you play. Roll.
Square 60 is where we are at the moment after a roll of this die. anything can happen. And it has kicked us down exactly 20 squares.
Okay.
To square 40.
Chula! Did I win? Hardly.
It is a regular old episode for you and me.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I am excited about it. And I'm just excited about all of the friends of DeSoto who support the show, you know?
It's the whole reason we're able to do this. Support comes from you, the people who enjoy what we do. Going to MaximumFun.org/join is how you get set up to support our projects on a monthly basis.
Indeed. We got to thank Wendy Pretty, our producer, who edits these episodes and keeps all the plates spinning at Uxbridge Shimoda.
Your support keeps her employed and doing the work that's so important to the show.
We got to thank our Zindi Wartime consigliere, Bill Tilley, who's making hilarious trading cards at the @GreatestTrek social media accounts. Check us out, Blue Sky and Instagram, and many other places.
Your support pays Bill Tilley for his work in the socials.
It's true.
So too does it pay Rob Adler,
who's our social media director, making those accounts really fun to follow. Always thinking of new great stuff to put up on those. And enhance the experience of being a friend of DeSoto, I would say.
I want to thank Benjamin R. Harrison for doing the show.
Mm-hmm.
You aren't thanked enough, Ben.
I mean,
as one of the hosts of this show.
I've always said that. Going through an entire episode with my foot feeling the way it does, I feel like I deserve it.
I wasn't going to say it, but it does seem like very attention-getting behavior to start injuring yourself so that I start recognizing the contributions you make to the recording of the show. So there it is, Ben. Finally.
It's more like, you know, a stand-up comedian will go take a premise walk, and I can't because
you can't do that.
I have small children at home, you know?
Yeah.
I got to come up with all my premises within a sub-1,000 square foot domicile.
Yours is a premise injury, isn't it?
But you know what, Adam? You're here too, and we appreciate your contributions almost as much. And with that, we'll be back at you next week with another great episode of Star Trek Enterprise and an episode of the Greatest Generation Enterprise that, boy, we're trying to keep our coffee on the desk.
You know what? Speaking of being turned inside out, isn't that what the Predator does to people?
Oh, yeah, because he's got to get their skulls for his trophy chest.
Is that what this is all about? Oh, maybe it isn't the Expanse. Maybe it's a Predator.
Maybe it's a Predator.
He'll turn you inside out.
Make it so.
Maximum Fun,
A worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
supported
directly
by you.